Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you're doing well. My, what a day it has been. Quite an exciting day, an eventful day. Let's go over what happened, and we'll talk about some indications as to whether or not we've peaked and whether or not it's time to sell, because I'm sure this is something top of mind for many, considering how much we've run up in just a few days. I mean, it's Wednesday, and on Monday we were hugging the $50,000 price, and as of right now, we're close to 61,000. So it is extremely exciting, but also nerve-wracking for many, I'm sure. So let's look at the metrics. Let's look at the data and see what they're telling us. So without further ado, let's get started. Not financial advice. Be sure to do your own due diligence before making any investing decisions. Now, there was a sort of low light for today, which were the Bitcoin miners. They were pretty much all down substantially. And the name that we typically see at the top of this chart, CleanSpark, was at the bottom today. Now, the reason for this, no one knows. In part, specifically, it could be a confluence of reasons. I suspect there's some profit taking that's going on. Keep in mind, CleanSpark, for example, is a name that has run up 5x since just a year ago. I also suspect there is some nervousness with regards to the halving and how these Bitcoin miners are going to fare after the halving. I also think that there is some shorting going on, and when stocks are shorted, their price can suffer. And the flip side to that is, if they do recover, you could have something like a short squeeze where prices go up dramatically. So, when you have stocks that have run up a lot, pullback of 5 or 10%, is not really something to be that concerned about. That being said, um, I want to emphasize two things. Number one, it's not a good idea to be chasing the latest, hottest stock. So if you're looking at a particular day and you see a particular miner is outperforming another one, that's not a good reason to jump from one miner to the other. And also, when you're up, when you have some profits to take some profits. And, not to brag, but we did take profits yesterday prior to the decline today. So we feel really happy about that. And our PIF members, inshallah, feel happy about that as well. If you'd like to follow our portfolios, make sure to become a PIF member, link in the description. As I mentioned yesterday, we did our taking up profits at a very opportune time. And now I can't predict the day-to-day movements of asset prices, but it is helpful to be part of a community that is sharing what they're doing and bouncing ideas off of one another. And from in that respect, I think that understanding when I'm trading, when I'm buying, when I'm selling, I think can be useful for people, especially for people with far less experience, and give them inspiration with regards to what they should do in their own portfolios. Again, not investment advice, but it should give you some inspiration, get the juices flowing, inshallah. Now, let's talk about Bitcoin and some of the more bullish news around it. So, Bitcoin halving is in 52 days now. So, it's fast approaching, and we may break the all-time highs for the first time ever prior to the Bitcoin halving. Now, previously, breaking the all-time high came after the halving. So if you look at the second halving, the Bitcoin price 52 days before the halving, the Bitcoin price was 60% below the all-time high. 52 days before the third halving, the Bitcoin price was close to 70% below the all-time high. And before the fourth halving, which is the halving that is upcoming, we are only around 10% away from the all-time high. And I think a big part of the reason for this are the Bitcoin ETFs. Now, that is in dollar terms. We're 10% away from breaking all-time highs, but in many other major currencies, Bitcoin has already broken all-time highs in some cases, for example, the Japanese yen or the Turkish lira, and in other cases, it's very close to breaking all-time highs. Now, as we were approaching the all-time high, we actually reached 64,000 today. Coinbase went down. A lot of people were seeing their portfolios had a zero balance. I checked my balance. I saw the zero, and I had a mini heart attack. But alhamdulillah, turns out that it was an issue on their end, and they got it fixed. Now, this is assuming you are well thinking of Coinbase and everything that's going on. I do think there is a non-trivial possibility that there was some bad actors involved here. And I say this because the amount or the volume of derivatives trading with regards to Bitcoin is extremely high. And a lot of people, a lot of investors are short. And that means they're betting that the price of Bitcoin goes down. And these shorts were getting lit up this morning. And the pause in the upward march of Bitcoin's price may have come as a breather for many shorts. And that seems a bit too convenient. So, the conspiracy theory part of me thinks that maybe there was some bad actors involved in the Coinbase issues that we saw today. Nevertheless, this is just another reason why you should always take profits. You really don't know when the reversal comes in your particular position. So taking profits really takes the edge off of the risk that you're taking. Now, trading in the first half of this trading day was already beat the all-time high for volume, that is, for the new ETFs. And we were just halfway through the day. And typically, trading volume or an increase in trading volume corresponds with an increase in price. So it'll be very interesting to see what Bitcoin does over the next 24 hours. Bitcoin ETFs are hoovering up everything that's mined and 10x more. And so if you look at yesterday, the Bitcoin ETFs actually bought 10x more than what was mined. And this can't continue without having a really acute supply crunch. And perhaps we're experiencing that right now. Now, this was very, I think, informative to me because I like to look at these data points as sort of anecdotes as to where we are in the cycle. And this chart shows you the percentage of long-term holders to short-term holders. So you can see long-term holders in this light blue or turquoise over the years, and the short-term holders in this orange. And you can see that when Bitcoin peaks in price, there is a substantial dip in long-term holders as a percentage and a rise in short-term holders. So Bitcoin changes hands from long-term to short-term holders when Bitcoin is peaking. And when you look at where we are right now, so the right end of this chart, you can see that the dip in long-term holders is quite muted. It's not severe like it was during previous peaks. And so this suggests to me that we're still a ways away from the peak here. Additionally, there are a lot of other sort of bullish anecdotes that you can get from the market. So Fidelity, which is a multi-trillion dollar asset manager, we reported a few weeks ago that it actually added to its conservative portfolio a 1% allocation to Bitcoin. Now it's added this allocation to multiple other portfolios. And also, it has increased the allocation from 1% to 2% and sometimes 3% for these portfolios. Now, you may think, okay, 3%, what's the big deal there? But when you're talking about a multi-trillion dollar asset manager, it's easy to see how this allocation can substantially impact the price of a single asset like Bitcoin. So all this leads me to believe that there's still a lot of upside here, even though we've run up substantially. I would not. Now, again, this is not investment advice. This is just what I would do. I would not try to sell and buy back at, I don't know, $2,000 cheaper for the price of Bitcoin, or $3,000 or $5,000 or even $10,000. I wouldn't really try to do that, try to time that, even though you can be sure that we will have pullbacks, probably 10 to 15%. Maybe we'll have a 20% pullback. But to me, that's sort of like trying to pick up pennies in front of a steamroller, considering the part of the cycle that we're in right now. We're coming up on the halving, and we have these Bitcoin ETFs that are really starting to kick in gear. We've sort of flushed out of the system the transition from GBTC and the selling pressure that put in the market. We also flushed out of the system the 1.3 billion in Bitcoin and GBTC holdings that were sold as part of Genesis bankruptcy. So there's a lot of selling pressure that was temporary that we've gone through, and now it seems like the net inflows are substantially positive into these new Bitcoin ETFs. So really trying to get out and then get back in, it's a really risky thing. And for what? You're going to pick up, I don't know, if it works out well for you and you are able to time it perfectly, you're going to pick up, I don't know, 10% discount on your next purchase. I don't think it's that worth it, considering the upside. So with that, let's quickly go through questions. I appreciate it. Azur said something about Bitcoin miners being detrimental. Actually, they said that, but the sort of first round, I guess, of Bitcoin miners versus the administration has gone to the miners, so it's looking positive as of now. Leverage trading halal? No, it's not. During which period and it's also, sorry to say this, but it's very unwise to do any sort of leverage trading. Do not do leverage trading if you don't want to get wiped out. Even aside from the halalness issue, leverage trading is extremely unwise. You saw how things can flip in an instant. At one point, we were marching towards 64,000. We actually touched 64,000. literally the next minute, we were below 60,000. So don't do that, please. Assalamu alaikum, brother. Wa alaikum salam. During which period during Bitcoin mining generally outperformed Bitcoin? So during this period, like the period that we're in, before and after the halving, Bitcoin miners have historically done better than Bitcoin. But not all of them. You have to pick the right ones. Coinbase is halal. Yeah, I wouldn't invest in Coinbase. I think they do have some lending operations. Last I checked, maybe this may be outdated information, but I checked way back when they did their IPO. Some lending operations, perhaps some dealings with derivatives, but also they have a lot of coins that they profit from that are not necessarily halal. So I'd stay away. Bitcoin peaks in summer and the new bear market begins. We'll see. PIF is a great community. Yes, it is a great community with the presence of people like you. I really appreciate your contributions, Dr. Showa. And Jazakumullah khair for attending. I hope you found this beneficial. Oh, do leave a like. Thank you so much for all the likes that you left on yesterday's live. That was really nice of you. And please do the same. Become a PIF member if you'd like to join our wonderful community. Until next time, take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum and peace be upon you all.